was fun.
That was fun.
Welcome, Paul, to the show.
It is nice to be here. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Morning.
So a little bit about Paul. Paul recalls the first day in mid-2017 when his doctor said, "You're killing yourself." It was beyond transformative. He literally fainted during a presentation, collapsed right there in front of the audience. Yikes. Boom, hit the floor, out like a light. Now his focus is to help people find their why and put it to work, to face and overcome their fears, to learn how to make a positive, long-lasting impression.
And share your faith, even when others tear you down for doing so. One of Paul's businesses and much of his consulting is built around cold calling. Yes, a practice that most salespeople absolutely dread. Paul loves cold calling, and now he's on a mission to help others enjoy stronger, smarter, more successful lives.
So welcome to the show. Your resolution, did you do a resolution? Do you believe in resolution?
I do. So I'm going to take the counter argument here today. And part of the reason that I do believe in New Year's resolutions is because New Year's resolutions offer one thing that this world needs more than anything else: hope. Yeah. Today, as being early January, it's a new year. And I think for a lot of people, when they look back at the last year, the last couple of years with COVID, these have been rough years personally. These have been rough years professionally. Maybe they didn't hit the goals that they wanted to financially. And I agree that people can start a resolution, maybe should do something new at any time during the year. But January 1st is always a day that people can look forward to. Next year will be different, they say. My life will be different, they say. And it just offers a ray of sunshine in a very dark world. So whether people keep them or not, I don't think is overly relevant. Whether people want to lose weight or not, I don't think is overly relevant. But in a world that so desperately needs hope, January 1st every year gives people that hope. So I'm all for New Year's resolutions.
I appreciate that perspective. I'd like to be proven wrong sometimes. So.
Well, and again, it's not me saying I'm right and you're wrong.
No, but it's a different perspective, which I like.
Yeah, and you guys know this from being business people and entrepreneurs as well, too. It's not the physical. It's not anything else in terms of why people succeed or not so much as it is the mental. It's tough being a business owner. It's tough with some of these obstacles that are in your way. So if you're thinking this year might be different, this year might be better, just injecting and instilling a little bit of hope in somebody, that can make a total world of difference.
I have definitely gone into that mindset that next year I have had one of the roughest years ever, a lot of crazy changes this year. And I have definitely said, no, 2023 is going to be better. I can't have another minute of 2022. I have said that.
I kind of feel like the word of the year, though, ties more into what he's saying than an actual resolution, like with a specific thing. Like have you heard about the word of the year thing before?
Is that what you guys were just doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So my word was momentum. So in 2023, I'm going to try to focus on creating more momentum in my life. So that does the same thing. That provides me a little bit of hope and a little bit of something different than I've done before. So maybe the word of the year is a little bit more towards what providing hope. And resolutions, if you do the resolution right, I think can provide a lot of hope.
Well, but I think what you're talking about there is the real optimal reason why a lot of people fail. In the first part of the show, you were talking about individuals not really keeping their resolution. Individuals, when they make New Year's resolutions, they're very good at the what. This is what I'm going to accomplish. To some degree, to a lesser extent, but still to some degree, they're okay at the how. Here's how I'm going to do it. What next to nobody does is give you the why.
Right.
And without that deep motivating factor, a lot of these things are doomed for failure. I teach the why. I know Tomas teaches the why. It's all about storytelling. If somebody says, I want to lose weight, my first question isn't so much the how, it's the why. If it's, I want to look better in a swimsuit, you're probably going to fail. But if it's, look, there's a history of heart disease in my family, I've got 3 small children, and I want to walk my baby girl down the aisle, that person is likely to succeed. So when you're talking about New Year's resolutions, come up with something, but then immediately ask yourself, why? And if there's no there, you're probably going to fail.
That makes absolute perfect sense. The why drives a lot.
It does.
And a lot of people
It drives everything.
Yeah, and they don't look at it.
Why are you ladies doing the show?
Right.
Why are these guests coming on the show?
Right.
Why do people hire you? I mean, life is all about motivations. Why did I show up today? Everybody has a motivation for doing something or not doing something, but very few people actually take the time to go deep to learn what that motivation is. And if you don't learn what that motivation is, there's just going to be a whole lot of missed opportunity there. What drives you? Understanding that why, that really dictates everything in your life.
I'm going to tie this into a little bit of your sales stuff, because the other day we did a think tank event, and it was about goal setting for the new year. And we stumbled across that whole theory of the why thing, about why do people buy from you, and why do they purchase your products and stuff like that. It's because they believe in what you believe, which is the why of your business, and not so much what you're selling. It all comes back to the why, and like everything that you're doing is why are you doing it. Yeah.
Well, and one of the things that I'm very blessed to do is I travel the world internationally giving keynote speeches. It's crazy that I get paid to do that. I mean, it's just one of the things when you really love what you do and you can get paid to it, there's no greater blessing than that.
Absolutely.
But my most popular keynote speech is called Instantaneous Differentiation, How to Make Yourself Memorable. I think one of the things that hurts individuals professionally primarily is it's very hard to differentiate yourself. If you're an insurance salesperson, just think about how many insurance salespeople there are in every state, in every city, in every block. I mean, there are a dime a dozen. So when you walk up to somebody and you say, well, I'm an insurance agent, the prospect starts tuning out already. Well, you guys are all the same. No, you're not. We're not. I'm a different person with a different background, with a different set of philosophies. The problem becomes, how do you communicate that?
Right.
How do you communicate your unique differentiator? And the why is one way to do that. But it's not just the why, because what I find is some people say, well, I want to support my family. That's not a Vince Lombardi halftime speech. I mean, I'm not. Oh, you want to support your family? Okay, great. Let's. Here's all the policies, and here's my 401k. You not only need to identify it, but you need to be able to tell it in a very compelling way. And that's one of the things that I do is I teach people, how do you identify your why, but then how do you tell that in 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 2 minutes? Because people are not logical buyers.
Right.
And this is one of the things that I think a lot of people miss. If it's a cold call, if it's an email, if it's a stop by, whatever it is, you're going to see individuals lean a lot in the logic. I'll save you X amount of dollars. You'll get X amount of phone calls from me every single month. Logic, logic, logic. People are driven by emotion. If you can win somebody over emotionally, they will justify any emotional purchase with their logical brain.
We talked about this at my networking event yesterday morning. You know, basically, some people will drive their business off of fear. Some people will drive, but it's mostly emotion based when it comes to just about anything, especially in sales.
And again, you talk about, we were talking about gyms and diets and whatever else. Yeah, I'm one of those guys that I could probably lose a few pounds myself. So if anybody doubts that, just think of this example. New Year's resolution, you want to drop 10 pounds. For 3 days, you're eating nothing but broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, all that other rabbit garbage. And you're doing that for 3 straight days. You're cranky, you're moody, life is miserable. Now all of a sudden, your son, we'll call him Hudson, my son, he drops off a bag of Wendy's Baconators, and he says, Dad, watch these for a few minutes. I'm going to go play my iPad. He goes upstairs. Well, when he goes to play his iPad, he's gone for about 3 weeks. So I got these Wendy's Baconators here, and my home smells like a rich smokehouse. In my mind, emotionally, I've already made the decision that I'm going to eat those because they're going to taste so good, and that lizard brain is really hard to start overriding that.
Momentum.
Right. What starts happening, though, in your logical brain? Your logical brain starts to justify what you're about to do.
Yes, it
Well,
does.
it's okay. You've eaten good for 3 days. You deserve a treat day. Well, it's okay. You haven't had a Baconator since you were 12. It's fine. So in the world of sales, if you can win somebody over emotionally, even if it's a little bit more expensive, they will justify that purchase with their logical brain.
I know how to win over Paul. I'm bringing bags of bacon.
I'm
bags
yours.
Of Baconator.
I'm yours. Yes, yes. That's my sweet spot. Yes.
So would you call that a secret, or would some people? Okay, I'd kind of like to know the difference between sales and manipulation, because we're on the emotional. We're selling things based on people's emotions. But what if you're crossing lines and you're manipulating people to buy things, or you're just not getting them to buy it for the right reason, and then they have regret, and then they come back and
my waistline it crosses,
Yeah.
but that's about it. No, it's a good question, and for the record, I don't like the word sales, because for sales, I see you're drinking coffee out of a mug there.
Yeah.
The mug doesn't have a hole in it.
No.
The mug isn't causing you physical pain right now, so that you don't really need a mug because you already have one. A sale is me trying to convince you why you need my coffee mug when you really don't. So I don't like the word sales. Instead, I prefer the word facilitation. Facilitation. You have a need. You don't have a coffee mug, yet you want coffee. You have nothing to pour the coffee in. You're not going to do this with your hands.
Right.
So here I come at just the right time, and I say, hey, this is why of all the coffee mugs, you should purchase mine.
Yeah.
So it can't be manipulation. Plus, the other thing is I truly believe people aren't stupid. Now you could pull a fast one on one or two people, but I'm not talking about getting somebody all emotionally hot and bothered for something that's not in their best interest. I'm saying, hey, based on your wants, based on your desires, based on the things that are good for your business, let me go deep and hit you at an emotive level and get you to imagine this world of possibilities, to get you excited about the future. Who's excited to buy insurance? Who's excited to go get a new pair of shoes? Well, that's a bad example.
Yeah, that's a bad example.
That's bad. I'm not excited.
example.
Well, but you talk about Baconators. Could you imagine? See, we got on that topic.
Boy,
now.
he's going to be thinking about Baconators all day now.
Could you imagine getting as excited about insurance as you do Baconators, or getting as excited about buying new windows as you do Baconators? If you understand how the human mind works and how to position something a little bit different, you can sell anything at a deep emotive level.
I've seen some pretty excited insurance agents that really, really love what they do. And
Yes.
how can you love that? I just don't get why you're so excited. But
Maybe
they do.
found their why.
They really like,
found
they
their why.
understand it. They love it.
Well, here's an example. For 3 years, I was in insurance. I was a certified financial advisor for Thrivent Financial. At the time, I was the vice president of Marion University in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. My goal was to be a college president. Then, on November 2nd of 2012, it happened to be his 60th birthday of all days. My father-in-law got up early like he usually did, went into the living room, sat down on the couch, bent down to put his socks on, and he never came back up.
Ooh.
He suffered a fatal heart attack right then and there. And in addition to the emotional trauma of losing somebody that you loved, I was very close to my father-in-law. So even just talking about it now gets me kind of emotional. My father-in-law was always a man's man, a guy's guy. I'm a hugger. Not him, just a guy's guy. But I'll never forget how he bawled his eyes out when he held his first grandbaby just 3 weeks before he died. I mean, just the emotional part of that, it doesn't seem fair, but we know life isn't fair. But I think the worst part of that all, even worse than the emotional trauma, was the financial trauma. He died without life insurance. He died without very little liquid savings. He left my mother-in-law in a very lousy financial position, and I blame myself. I was a higher education administrator at the time, but I still knew the value of life insurance. I just assumed everybody had it. That experience woke me up. That experience opened my eyes that very few people have life insurance. Very few people have a trusted rep to talk to. So because of that, I left the higher education administration path. I quit my job as the vice president of Marion, and I became a full-time financial advisor because I didn't want anybody in my life that I knew or didn't know to go through what I went through.
But an instant, deep connected why. Instant.
That's my why.
Yeah.
So imagine me as a financial advisor sharing that at networking events, sharing that at after hours,
Yeah.
sharing that with ladies like you.
Yeah.
You can work with anybody.
Yeah.
Do you want to work with somebody who is doing this just to get paid? Or do you want to work with somebody who feels God called them to do this? The answer becomes pretty self-evident. So just knowing your why, being passionate about your why, and sharing your why is not only the best way to differentiate you, it's the best way to hit people at an emotive level and get them to say, yeah, this guy's got what I need.
So why, we obviously know your why is huge. We're going to turn tables a little bit and talk about cold calling because that is something that you love to do. Most people hate to do. Do you want to share some secrets maybe that you're allowed to, or talk a little bit about cold calling and why?
Yeah, see, people are learning a lot about me here today. I'm all about Baconators and cold calls. I'm an easy guy to please, America. I'm an easy guy to please. Well, yeah, without getting into a lot of the proprietary stuff, I'll just do a couple of quick hits. And again, if anybody wants any additional information, they know how to contact me. A couple things. One, cold calls need to be crazy short, like crazy short. So what we do is when we teach people how to cold call, every script is unique to the person that we're working with. Cold call scripts should be exactly 6 sentences, and they should be between 20 to 25 seconds in duration. That's it.
Wow.
It's all about
Specific.
it is. We got this down to a science.
Yeah.
Now, your 6 sentences are going to be different than my 6 sentences. Yours are going to be different than the knucklehead that was sitting in that seat here earlier. Just kidding. Yeah, I know that. So, but at the end of it is 6 sentences because every single sentence has a specific purpose. What are we trying to do? What are we trying to convey? But exactly 20 to 25 seconds. We got to get this done quick because the longer you talk, the more likely you are to do what I call self-incrimination, where individuals are just, oh, this is a sales call, I'm not interested. But I would say one of the tips that I will give, and I'll just ask you guys, because I think I know what you're going to say. Do you believe more often than not, people buy companies first? I'm going to work with Thrivent, I don't care who the rep is. Or do they work with people, or do they buy people first? Where I know this person, I like this person, I trust this person, wherever that person goes, I go. More often than not, do you believe people buy companies first or people buy people first?
People.
That's a tough one for me.
I say people.
Pretty quickly too.
I think it depends on what it is that I'm buying, because if it's something that I really want from a specific company, like let's say I'm buying a car, and I want a Toyota, I'm gonna only go to a Toyota place, but I am gonna be very specific on who I'm gonna want to sell me the car.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it's like a little bit of a priority, but yes, it probably does trickle down to
So
who
like
am I
I would
immediately
take it
working
down
with.
to which dealership am I going to go to because of the people. Because yeah, I might have a very specific car in mind.
Mm-hmm. I think I might start
Yeah.
with the bigger picture, but I think I end up with the
I don't know if I'm right or wrong,
Yeah.
but
Well, this is one of those subjective questions, so nobody's
Yeah.
right. It's all opinion
That's
based.
right. Mhm. Yeah.
But when I ask this question in front of a large audience, I'd say 90% say people buy people first. I want to work with somebody I know, like, and trust. And once that happens, I'm going to work with that person. I mean, if that wasn't the case, why do non-competes exist? I'm going to follow this person wherever he or she goes. So because of that, because people buy people first, listen to somebody's cold call script, usually. Hi, Tracy. My name is Paul M. Neuberger, the Cold Call Coach. We're a one-stop sales shop. I offer innovative services. I want to work with your team to help them get in front of the blah, blah, blah. Just about every single cold call is selling the company first, the product first, the professional value add first. Well, you ladies just told me people buy people first. Isn't that a huge disconnect?
yeah.
You're leading with your insurance product. Dude, I don't even know who you are yet. Why are you selling me insurance? I don't know who you are. The reason that the average cold call success rate in this country is a paltry 5%. Don't even get me started on that. Could you imagine? I'm going to go there. Could you imagine if your doctor only got your diagnosis right 5% of the time?
Yeah, no.
Could you imagine if your auto mechanic only fixed your car 5% of the time? These people would not only be disbarred, they might be in jail. It's that bad. Yet we're supposed to accept a 5% cold call success rate. It's not overly complicated. It's because people are leading with something first that people don't buy. Rather than pushing insurance, rather than pushing premiums, rather than pushing deductibles, wait a minute, let me sell myself first. Let me sell myself. Here's a little bit about me. Here's my background. Here's my philosophy. Here's my why, like we were just talking about. And once people go, wow, she's special. Wow, I've never heard anybody talk like her before.
Okay, but
I'm
I
gonna
have
listen.
to ask, like, how you're gonna call up on the phone and you're gonna say 6 sentences about who you are and what you believe, and not even talk about the company?
I didn't say we're not going to talk about the company. I said I'm going to sell myself first. High-level overview. I can't get into all the details for obvious reasons. The first part of the script is called the assumptive greeting. I want to greet you in a way that makes you assume we've met. I'm not trying to be misleading or misrepresenting by saying, hey, we had coffee the other day, because that'd be a lie, and we're not going to do that. But I want to greet you in a way like a friend does. Next, I go to the attention trigger. That is one sentence that taps into something that you care about personally or professionally. Third is the value add proposition. I want to give you something that you really want or need. Fourth is the established credibility. That's 2 sentences. This is where I start to tell a little bit about my background, why I'm calling, and why you want to meet with me. And then lastly, number 5, that's the call to action. This is, here's where, if you're interested, here's where we should go, here's what we should do, here's what I propose is the next step. 5 parts of the script over the course of 6 sentences, 20 to 25 seconds. Selling me first, the company a much distant second.
It was very interesting.
Yeah.
And I like the approach a lot. It makes a tremendous amount of sense. I
So,
like the approach.
So you said before your percentage was 5%. If you're using this technique, what do you expect your percentage to go up to then?
Yeah, it really all kind of depends. I've been doing this for over a decade, but we meticulously track statistics on behalf of all of our clients. Our clients, on average, have a cold call success rate of 36.4%, and they have a voicemail response rate of 23.1%, which, again, shouldn't be possible, but this is part of the reason that we do what we do at my business. You talk about, your why. Well, one of the things that I aspire to do is I aspire to make the impossible possible. And a lot of that goes to my faith, because with God, all things are possible. People just need hope. People just need to see that something can be done. People have been convinced that cold calling is dead. Somebody said it died in 1996. I don't know when that is, but people have said cold calling is dead, don't do it, and people make a lot of money. You know why people make a lot of money on the fallacy that cold calling is dead? Because it's easy. If cold calling is dead, it's easy to do emails. It's easy to send out social media posts. It's easy to do those Facebook boosts. When in your life have you ever grown when something was easy?
That's absolutely true.
Could you imagine going for a job interview? Yeah, I'm really good at licking envelopes. Hire them. Are you kidding me? I'm really good at. If you're really, really, really good at something that's really, really, really difficult, that's staying power.
Yeah.
That gives you a huge competitive advantage, and that's what cold calling does.
When the statistical jump between 5% and 25 to 35% or whatever the numbers were, it's pretty remarkable. Like, I don't think that's not a small jump to say, okay, well, we expect 10%. That's pretty serious numbers.
Yeah, we've got 150 recommendations on my LinkedIn profile of people that have gone through it. Well, Paul's just a smooth talker. Man, we got people to back it up. These are real people, real organizations that have experienced this. But again, it all really boils down to three things. One, people buy people first. We teach our clients how to sell themselves first. Two, people are emotional buyers, not logical buyers. People won't always remember what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel when you say it.
Right.
So we add that into it. And three, it's all about differentiation, which is really centering on the why. So over the course of 20 to 25 seconds, if you can sell yourself personally, if you can hit them at a deep emotive level, and you can talk to them in a manner that they've never heard before, 36% sounds low if you can do those three things.
Right.
It's not rocket science. It's
Right.
all human psychology.
Absolutely.
Well, it makes me. It does give me hope for the being able to, if you're getting into the sales field, that people have a different way of doing things than have been in the past. Because there's been a lot of negative comments about sales in the past. So this is really inspirational for people going into sales jobs, that there's a different way to do things with better results.
There's a better way.
There's
Yeah,
a better way.
And the last thing I'll say about this too is when you talk to people that are in the sales world, and if you ask them, do you like your cold call script? The vast majority of people are going to say no. And you say, why? They say, well, because it doesn't feel good. I mean, when you walk into a room and you're networking, what are some of the best practices? Ask that person questions. Get to know them. Let's build a friendship, and then let's talk business. What's cold calling? Just the opposite. Let me try to sell you on something that you might not need. Let me aggressively push you on something. Let me skip the hand holding and let's go right to the marriage. If you make the cold call more in line with human society and how people interact, it's just going to work out a lot better.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we're going to shift gears a little bit from cold calling to the C-suite for Christ. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this was a total God thing. I was the president of the Star Group, which is one of the larger insurance agencies in the state of Wisconsin. And for me, I've always been a very faith-filled guy. I mean, just by the shirt that I'm wearing. I like to take God with me everywhere. And part of that reason is, long story short, I had a bit of a nervous breakdown when I was in college, was suicidal for a period of time. And the only thing that pulled me back out was Christ. That's it. And because he saved my life, I've devoted the rest of my life to glorifying him, which we're supposed to be doing according to the Great Commission anyway. So when I was the president of the Star Group, one of the things that makes me me is I'm a bit of a LinkedIn junkie. I've got about 45,000 followers. And I thought, God gave me the talent of social media accumulation. God gave me the talent of communication, public speaking. Why not glorify him utilizing my talents and abilities? So rather than telling the world who I am, I thought, well, I'm going to start telling the world whose I am. But I didn't want to start posting on social media as the president of the Star Group without running that by my bosses. Thankfully, they're believers. They were all for it, so I started to do that. I had some posts taken down from LinkedIn. I was called a lot of names that end in ist. We actually lost one or two pieces of business because people thought Christianity and business don't go hand in hand. But my ultimate accountability is God. If you don't like it, well, that's unfortunate, but at some day I'm going to have the ultimate exit interview in the sky, and he's my ultimate accountability, nobody else here on earth. So I kept going. Well, for every 1 or 2 people that didn't like it, 15 or 20 did. And I remember it was December of 2018. I built relationships with Christian executives in southeastern Wisconsin. I said, we should all get together. It's about 9 of us. I'm driving to the first meeting. I'm just kind of looking at who's going to be there. CEO, COO, CFO. Hey, we're all C-suiters. C-suite for Christ. Just kind of popped into my head. The first meeting went well. The second meeting went well. This thing just kept taking off. And somebody said, Paul, I think you're really onto something here. So you fast forward 4 years, we now have 2,200 executives all across the world. We just planted our 5th chapter. We've got several more in the pipeline. Our goal is to get to 50 chapters by the end of next year. Wow. I've got a podcast, a radio show, 2 television shows, and this thing just keeps growing because there is a thirst for people to bring Christ back into the workplace. Christians have been marginalized for too long. You can talk about whatever you want, just don't talk about that Christ thing. People want to bring him in, and we're a group that inspires and helps our members learn how to do just that.
Well, congratulations to that.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
that's a big accomplishment, and that's a big goal by the end of the year. We are running out of time because we still have another guest. So thank you so much. You have a tremendous amount to share. Thank you so much for joining us today. Do you have an offer or anything else, any events coming up that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, the only thing that I would add, there's always, living my life is like being on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. So there's always something going on.
I love it.
But what I would say on Thursday, February 9th, it's our annual C-Suite for Christ event. It's called the Covering the World in Christ celebration. So it's a way for Christians, either in person, it's going to be held in West Bend at the Washington County Fairgrounds, either Christians in person or via live stream, to come together, to pray for each other, to encourage each other, to celebrate each other, but most importantly, to make a bold declaration that we're done being quiet. We're not going to let secular society bully us into being quiet. Our keynote speaker is Governor Mike Huckabee, the former Arkansas governor. Our musical performer is Danny Gokey, who 3 times has won the K-Love Male Artist of the Year. So there's still some tickets available, but they're going fast. That's going to be Thursday, February 9th, and if people want to join, it'd be a blessing to have you.
Excellent.
Nice.
Today or tomorrow, we will have a page on the website for Paul. So you'll go to theconnectshow.com/Paul Neuberger, and then that'll link everyone to you, and they can find all that information on how to hire you, how to find the C-suite, how to get all the things. So thank you so much for joining us.
It was
today.
an honor to be here.
Yes,
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
so
have
much.
you.
Appreciate
I love
it.
it. I love it. And we're off to John.